Uh, hi everybody. This is Joe with another movie review, and this time I'm going to do the 1953 classic, The War of the Worlds, which is of course based on the 1898 novel by H.G. Wells, one of the grandfathers of science fiction. And of course, The War of the Worlds does have a long history. Not just in movies, but also in pop culture, because this year will be the 75th anniversary of the famous Orson Welles, no relation to H.G. Wells, his famous radio broadcast when Orson Welles used to have. Well, let me try to give the real history of the book. The history War of the Worlds started in 1898 when the original release of the complete novel War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, and then for 40 years later, on October 30th, Sunday, October 30th, 1938, Orson Welles had a radio show on the Columbia Broadcasting Service, or CBS, radio network, called the Mercury Theater on the Air, and he decided to have, since it's Halloween Eve, to do a scary story, and he did War of the Worlds, and he had his writers do the whole thing instead of the original novels based in London, when aliens attacking London and the whole London army fighting and of course winning against the Martian invasion from Mars. So 4 years later, Orson Welles took that story and made it a little more modernized by having radio reports of an alien invasion in Grover's Mill, New Jersey. Grover's Mill was an actual, not really a small town, more like a little village or something, and Grover's Mill actually does exist. And what happened was, people actually thought that we were actually being invaded by aliens when they listened to the broadcast. And there is a documentary hosted by Avatar and Titanic director James Cameron. And James Cameron hosts War of the Worlds, and find it on YouTube. It's a very good documentary of what happened during the radio broadcast, because people thought that we were actually being invaded. So how can people believe that in 1938? Well, because they didn't listen to the first 10 minutes of Orson Welles telling people, hey, this is a radio show, our version of War of the Worlds is a radio play. Because of course in 1938 television wasn't invented yet till 1939, so people went to radio for the entertainment, the news, and whatever else. Unlike today, when we have the internet and television, radio, and the internet today. That time you only had the radio, so people turned in and listened to what was originally big band music, and it was changed to constantly news updates of people being attacked and killed by Martians from Mars, and it was so realistic. For the time in 1938, people thought that we were actually being invaded by aliens, and people were escaping, running to the streets with guns, getting into the cars, running away. And then when they found out that it was actually not a real invasion but just a radio show, people were upset, and Orson Welles got the publicity, and of course 2 years later he made the classic Citizen Kane. Well, then nothing really happened with War of the Worlds until 1953 when the movie came out. And this is the original DVD called The Original Invasion, and it stars Gene Barry and Ann Robinson as the two lead actors in it. And instead of being in London or on the radio show was in New Jersey, this was in the outskirts of Los Angeles. And it starts off with this meteor crashing into the Los Angeles hills, and Gene Barry plays a scientist from Caltech, and he was there with a couple of his colleagues fishing, and they went to check it out, and they were actually checked it out by the local sheriff, and they found out, of course, they were actually aliens. And there was three guys staying there, and three guys were the first three guys to get killed by the aliens. And of course, they had the most. This is what the alien machines look like with the beams, but when you see them, the actual attack, you do see, because this is 1953 technology, no CGI then. You can see the legs, you can see the wires holding the machines up. If you look close, you can see the wires. But this is and of course you see them attacking Los Angeles. And Ann Robinson plays the love interest in the movie. And when they had the 2005 remake, the Spielberg remake, which was awful. Please avoid the remake because it wasn't very good at all. The only thing that was good about the remake was the fact that the alien machines in the Spielberg version was more accurate to the actual story than this one. This one is the most iconic version of the alien machine, with the swan-like neck and the way the beams come out and stuff like that. This version was a little more scarier than the Spielberg remake. But the Spielberg remake, the way the alien machines were depicted in his version is more accurate to what the original H.G. Wells and the radio show described as. This version is not. The machines are scarier and better looking than the remake, Spielberg's remake. But the Spielberg remake's alien machines were more accurate to what the original story was, but that's about it. That story was just awful. It was bad in every way possible. The only thing that was good about was the special effects, but they had the CGI to fall back on. But not in this version, and the special effects actually won the Academy Award for the special effects. But it is a good movie. Unfortunately, this movie is not very long at all. It's only about 85 minutes in length. So it is a very short movie, and the only movie they compare it more the most today to is Independence Day. And the reason why I say that is because Independence Day takes the option of making it, but we know how the aliens died and how we were able to not really defeat them, because we really went by default, because the aliens died from germs and viruses that we were immune to. And we developed immunity to certain germs and bacteria that we long since become immune to. But the aliens, the Martians, were not really immune to it, and so they died off from that. In Independence Day, they used a Mon virus to destroy the aliens, and that, of course, was a computer virus. But I'll get to maybe doing a review of Independence Day maybe later on. But in terms of War of the Worlds, it's definitely one of the best. This was in the era, the 1950s was the era for alien movies, or science fiction films. Of course, I think nowadays we have the Star Trek movies or the Star Wars films, and some other science fiction films. But the 1950s was the decade for science fiction films. And actually, War of the Worlds was one of the better ones, along with Earth vs. the Flying Saucers or The Day the Earth Stood Still. Those are like the three of the best and most popular science fiction films, but it all came out during the 1950s. When you have the cheesy special effects and cheesy dialogue and everything else, but not nowadays, CGI, just about everything is fake. Is, you can tell easily that CGI. At that time, the special effects are. You can tell, you see the streams, like I mentioned before, but the movie is definitely one of the better science fiction films. If you ever and I know that when Spielberg remake came out, War of the Worlds, the original War of the Worlds movie, was re-released on DVD then to hype the remake, and this one doesn't have all that great, special features. Only it has on is the theatrical trailer. But in the, I think the 2005 DVD, it had not only of course the theatrical trailer, but also has the actual radio broadcast. The Orson Welles radio broadcast, which is very good. It's also on YouTube. There's several different people posted it, and it is very good. And also there's also several other documentaries, not only the James Cameron one, which I mentioned. Please check it out if you're able to. James Cameron hosts, I think it was titled, the person who posted it, titled as James Cameron hosts War of the Worlds. Check that out. Plus, there's also a documentary that was made by, or hosted by Edward R. Murrow, called The Night America Trembled, which is like a reenactment with actors, with listening to the radio show. And you could recognize Richard Gordania, who was in Moonstruck, which I did a previous video with. He starred in that. Plus, an actor who starred on The Honeymooners and the Jackie Gleason show was also in that reenactment with Edward R. Murrow, which is also very good. So please check out War of the Worlds, plus the documentaries on YouTube, which I mentioned already. Thank you for watching the video, and catch you next time.